President Marcus Hayes stood in the Grand Hall of the United Nations building, looking down at the city of New York below. The morning sun made the building shine like gold. He felt calm and ready for the day ahead. In just a few hours, he would meet with the Vextar Dominion, one of the most powerful alien civilizations humanity had ever encountered. The Vextar had sent word 3 weeks ago that they wanted to discuss trade and friendship between their people and Earth. The news made the whole world excited. For the first time, humanity would trade directly with an advanced alien empire. It seemed like the beginning of a new and better future for all of mankind. Hayes wore his formal suit, dark blue with a red tie. His face was calm, but inside he felt the weight of the moment. He was the leader of Earth, and what happened today would change human history. General Patricia Wong stood beside him, dressed in her military uniform. She was the head of Earth's military forces and one of the few people Hayes trusted completely. "Mr. President, the Vextar delegation will arrive in 30 minutes, Wong said quietly. She looked out the window with steady eyes. "We have security in every room. All personnel have been checked twice." Hayes nodded. "Good. I want this meeting to go smoothly, Patricia. The world is watching. This is our chance to show that we can work with advanced civilizations as equals." Wong did not answer right away. She had served in the military for 40 years. She had seen good things and bad things in the world. Something about this meeting made her feel uncomfortable, but she could not explain why. "The delegation is here, sir," said Luke Carter, the United Nations representative. He was a young man with black hair and smart eyes. He had worked for the United Nations for 15 years and understood diplomacy well. President Hayes walked down the long corridor toward the meeting room. His footsteps echoed on the floor. Wong and Carter followed him. Behind them came 4 security officers, dressed in dark suits with radios in their ears. The building was quiet except for their footsteps. The meeting room was large and clean. A long table sat in the center with chairs on both sides. Water glasses and papers were arranged neatly. Big windows showed the city outside. The room was designed to look peaceful and open, a place where friends could talk together. The Vextar delegation entered from the other side. There were 5 of them. They were tall, almost 7 feet high, with blue-green skin that looked smooth like water. Their eyes were large and black, without any white part. They moved smoothly, like dancers. Their clothes were made of strange material that seemed to change color slightly as they moved. The lead Vextar stepped forward. His name was Krell. He'd been speaking with Earth's government through communications for 3 weeks. He smiled, showing rows of small white teeth. "President Hayes," Krell said in perfect English. His voice was smooth and calm. "It brings us great joy to meet you in person. The Vextar Dominion wishes to begin a new era of cooperation between our peoples." Hayes shook his hand. The hand felt warm and dry. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Krell. We are honored by your presence. The people of Earth look forward to friendship with the Vextar." They sat down at the table. Luke Carter sat beside Hayes. A woman named Jennifer Cross, who was an expert in science and technology, sat on the other side. General Wong stood near the door with the security officers. For 2 hours, they talked about many things. The Vextar spoke of trading advanced technology. They could give Earth medicines that would cure many diseases. They could share knowledge about energy and space travel. In return, they wanted certain raw materials and access to Earth's markets. It all seemed fair and good. Hayes began to relax. This was going well. By the end of the day, he would announce a historic treaty to the world. Humanity would enter a new age. Then Krell stood up suddenly. The other Vextar stood up as well. Their faces changed. The smiles were gone. Hayes felt his body go cold. "President Hayes," Krell said, his voice different now. It was hard and dark. You misunderstand the purpose of our visit. The Vextar Dominion does not wish to be your friends. We have come to inform you that we are taking Earth. The words seemed to hang in the air. No one moved. What are you talking about? Hayes asked. He stood up from his chair. This is insane. You cannot take Earth. We have a peaceful agreement. Krell laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Your agreement means nothing. We have scanned your planet. You have valuable materials. You have land for our people. Your civilization is young and weak. You cannot stop us. We will arrive in 90 days with our full fleet. When we come, your world will become part of the Vextar Dominion. You will either serve us or you will die. This is not negotiation. This is notification. General Wong moved quickly. She spoke into her radio. Code red. All security, move in now. But Krell raised his hand. The other Vextar pulled out devices that looked like small rods of light. Before anyone could move, the room filled with bright red energy. The security officers fell to the ground. Wong shouted orders, but her voice was drowned out by the sound of the energy weapon's dot. Hayes felt pain like nothing he had ever felt before. The red light hit him in the chest. He could not breathe. He could not move. He looked at Wong, and he saw tears in her strong eyes. Then everything went black. Krell and the other Vextar walked calmly toward the door. Around them, alarms were starting to sound. The building shook, but the Vextar did not run. They walked like conquerors, leaving a defeated city dot in less than 5 minutes. It was over. President Marcus Hayes lay on the floor of the meeting room, his body still and cold. The Vextar delegation had left in their ship, heading back to their command vessel in space. The ship disappeared into the sky like a ghost. General Patricia Wong knelt beside the president, her hands shaking. She was a soldier who had faced many battles, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The leader of Earth was dead, killed by an alien enemy on his own soil. And in 90 days, that enemy would return with an army that could destroy humanity forever. Wong stood slowly and looked out the window at the city of New York. It was still shining in the afternoon sun, beautiful and alive. She did not know if that city would survive what was coming. But she knew one thing for certain. Earth would not surrender. If the Vextar wanted this world, they would have to take it with blood and fire. And humanity would make them pay for every inch of ground. The news spread across the world like fire. President Marcus Hayes was dead, killed by an alien delegation at the United Nations. Within hours, every television, every radio, every computer screen showed the same images. The face of Marcus Hayes, a good man who had tried to bring peace, now shone as a memorial. The world was shocked, angry, and afraid. General Patricia Wong stood in the emergency command center below the Earth's surface. The room was large, filled with screens and computers and people talking into radios. Wong had taken emergency command as the Constitution allowed. She was now the leader of Earth, at least until the people could choose a new government. She wore the same uniform she had worn for 40 years. Her gray hair was cut short. Her face showed the lines of someone who had lived a hard life and seen hard things. But her eyes were clear and sharp. Her hands did not shake. "Give me a full report," Wong said to the men and women around her. A young officer named David Black stepped forward. He was tall and dark-haired, with intelligent eyes. "Ma'am, we have confirmed the Vextar ship left Earth's atmosphere 2 hours ago. Our satellites are tracking it. They are heading toward a location about 1,000,000 kilometers from Earth. We believe that is where their command vessel is waiting." Wong nodded. "And the assassination weapon? What did they use?" "We are still analyzing the data," said Dr. Kevin Ross. He was the head of Earth's diplomatic relations and one of the smartest men on the planet. His hair was white and he looked tired. The events of the day had aged him 10 years in 10 hours. But from what we can tell, it was some kind of energy weapon. Very advanced. Nothing we have can match it. Wong moved to the main screen. It showed Earth from space. The planet looked the same as it always had. Blue water, white clouds, brown and green land. Beautiful. But now it was under sentence of death. How many days do we have? Wong asked. 89 days, Dr. Ross said. They said 90, but they have been traveling for 1 day already. In 89 days, they will arrive with their invasion fleet. Wong turned to face everyone in the room. The Vexstar believe that killing our president will break us. They think we will argue and fight among ourselves. They think we will surrender without a real battle. They believe that advanced technology is all that matters in war. They are wrong about all of these things. She paused and let her eyes move across the faces of everyone there. I am ordering a full mobilization of all Earth's forces. Military, scientific, industrial, and civilian. Every nation will work together. Every person who can work will help. We will not surrender. We will not break. We will fight. And we will win. This is not negotiation. This is an order from the leader of Earth. The room filled with new energy. People began talking rapidly into their radios. Phones rang. Keyboards clicked. Within minutes, messages were being sent to every nation on Earth, to every city, to every military base in Moscow. Soldiers began moving toward armories. In Beijing, factories started changing production to make weapons. In London, scientists gathered to study the data from the United Nations attack. In São Paulo, ordinary people heard the news and walked to recruitment centers, ready to fight for their planet. Elena Rodriguez was a teacher in Los Angeles. When she heard about the president's death and the Vexstar threat, she did not hesitate. She left her school and went to the nearest military recruitment office. Thousands of people were already there, waiting in long lines. Young and old, men and women, rich and poor. All wanted to help defend Earth. At a military base in Florida, Captain Lisa Torres was planning fighter pilot training exercises when the mobilization order came. She was a brilliant pilot with 17 years of experience. She had flown in difficult situations before. Now she read the files about the Vexstar ships and weapons. They were bigger, faster, and more powerful than anything humanity had. But Torres had learned something in her years as a pilot. Technology was not everything. Skill, speed, and the ability to think fast could overcome even a powerful enemy. In laboratories around the world, scientists started working without sleep. Commander Alex Mitchell was a military strategist at the Pentagon in Washington. He was given a simple order: find a way for humanity to defeat a vastly superior enemy. Mitchell was known for his creative thinking. He looked at the data about the Vexstar ships and weapons. He found patterns. He found weaknesses. Here, he said to the generals gathered around him, pointing at a technical drawing. The Vexstar shields have a cycle time of 4.3 seconds. During that cycle, there is a brief moment of 0.8 seconds where the shield is weakest. If we time our attacks perfectly, we can hit them during that moment. General Wong studied the information carefully. How certain are you about this? As certain as science allows, Mitchell said. It is not a guarantee, but it is a chance. Without it, we have no chance at all. Wong made her decision. Then we prepare for this. We modify every weapon we have. We train every pilot. We calculate every angle. If Mitchell is right, we might survive this. News networks around the world showed stories of the preparation. Factories working night and day. Soldiers training in the hot sun and the cold rain. Scientists working in laboratories. Ordinary people helping with supply lines and building defenses. The world had come together. 3 days after the assassination, Wong stood before the cameras and spoke to all of Earth. "People of Earth," she said, her voice steady and strong. "The Vextar Dominion came to us with lies and weapons. They killed our president. They threatened our world. But they made a mistake. They believed that technology and weapons are all that matter in war. They believed that we would break. They believed that humanity is weak. They were wrong." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "We are not weak. We are strong. When we stand together, there is nothing we cannot do. We have 88 days to prepare for the battle of our lives. We will use every one of those days. We will be ready. And when the Vextar arrive, they will learn what it means to fight against a united humanity." The speech was played and replayed on screens everywhere. People watched it and felt something change inside them. Fear was still there. Doubt was still there. But something stronger was there too. Hope, determination, the will to survive. General Patricia Wong returned to the command center. She had work to do. 88 days was not much time. It was barely enough time to do the impossible. But Wong had learned something in 40 years of military service. When humanity was in danger, when survival was at stake, ordinary people could do extraordinary things. She looked at the screen showing Earth from space. "We will defend you," she said quietly. "All of you. Every city, every forest, every person. I promise." Captain Lisa Torres sat in the pilot's seat of the fighter spacecraft. Through the window, she could see the stars and the darkness of space. Behind her were 49 other fighter pilots, all flying the same type of spacecraft. Ahead of them, at a distance of 300 kilometers, were Vextar ships. 63 days had passed since President Hayes was killed. 63 days of preparation, training, and work that seemed impossible. But humanity had not stopped. Scientists had found the weakness in the Vextar shields. Engineers had modified Earth's weapons to exploit that weakness. Pilots like Torres had trained until their hands could move without thinking about it. Torres was 38 years old. She had flown military fighter planes for 17 years. She was calm and focused. Her hands moved across the controls with perfect precision. Around her, the other pilots waited for her command. "All pilots, check your weapons," Torres said into the radio. Her voice was steady. One by one, the pilots reported. "All systems ready. All weapons loaded. All pilots ready to die if necessary." "We have our orders," Torres continued. "Those ships below are supply and support vessels for the Vextar invasion fleet. We hit them hard and fast. We exploit the shield weakness exactly as we practiced. No mistakes. No hesitation. This is for Earth." She pushed the controls forward, and her fighter moved toward the enemy ships below. The other pilots followed her, moving like a single organism. They had trained for weeks with only one purpose: hit the Vextar when their shields were weakest. Do as much damage as possible. The Vextar ships were large, blocky shapes that looked like nothing built on Earth. They had weapons that fired energy bolts that could destroy buildings. Torres had seen videos of what these weapons could do. They burned through metal and concrete like fire burns through paper. The first Vextar ship detected the incoming fighters. Alarms sounded on the alien vessel. Alarms sounded on the alien vessel. The ship rotated to face the human fighters. Weapons charged. The Vextar were confident. They had fought other races before. Human pilots in small fighters were no real threat. The first energy bolt fired toward Torres. She saw it coming and moved her fighter to the right. The bolt passed inches from her spacecraft. Behind her, another pilot was not as fast. His fighter took the hit directly. The spacecraft exploded in a ball of flame and hot gas. Torres did not have time to feel sad. Sadness came later. Now there was only the mission. Formation Delta, she commanded. The fighters spread out, coming at the Vexstar ship from multiple angles. This was the pattern they had practiced 1,000 times. The Vexstar ship fired again and again. More fighters were hit. More explosions lit up the darkness of space. But the human fighters kept coming. They were so small, so fast, and the Vexstar weapons were designed to hit big. Slow targets like other starships, not nimble fighters. Torres watched the shield frequency on her screen. Exactly as Dr. Mitchell had predicted, there was a pattern. A pulse of energy that kept the shield strong. But between each pulse was a moment of weakness. "All pilots, fire on my mark," Torres said. "Mark, fire now." 50 human fighters fired their weapons at almost the same moment. The weapons had been modified to match the exact frequency of the Vexstar shields. They passed through the weakened shield like a key going into a lock. The weapons hit the main hull of the Vexstar ship. The explosion was enormous. The ship broke apart, pieces of metal and machinery flying in all directions. Vexstar crew members died in an instant. Floating into the cold of space, the other 2 Vexstar supply ships tried to escape. They turned their hulls toward the human fighters and accelerated away. Torres did not chase them. That was not her mission. She had come to destroy these ships, and they were now destroyed. Mission complete. As the human fighters returned to Earth, pilots looked at each other through their helmet radios. They had done it. They had defeated Vexstar ships. It was the first real victory of the war. Commander Alex Mitchell watched the videos of the battle from the command center on Earth. He calculated the numbers. 12 human fighters destroyed, but 3 Vexstar ships destroyed completely. And the proof of concept was shown. The weakness in the shield was real. Human pilots could exploit it. General Patricia Wong felt something change in her chest when she heard the news. Fear did not disappear. Doubt did not disappear. But there was now something else. Real hope. The kind of hope that comes from seeing an enemy bleed. She went on television that evening. Today, human pilots have defeated Vexstar warships in direct combat. This proves what we have always known. Technology is powerful, but courage, skill, and unity are more powerful. The Vexstar have learned that humans are not easy prey. In 3 weeks, they will arrive with their main fleet. We will be waiting. News of the victory spread across Earth like light spreading through darkness. In cities and towns, people celebrated. Young people joined the military in even greater numbers. Factories worked harder, knowing that what they built actually worked. But Captain Torres, sitting in the medical room after her mission, thought about the pilots she had lost. She thought about the families who would never see those pilots again. Victory was good, but it came with a price that was terrible to pay. A medical officer checked her for injuries. "You are fine, Captain," the officer said. "You flew a perfect mission." Torres nodded, but did not smile. She was thinking about the next battle. The Vexstar would not make the same mistakes twice. They would learn from this. They would bring more ships, bigger weapons, and they would be more careful. In the darkness of space, the remaining Vexstar ships were already changing course. They sent messages back to their command vessel. The message was simple. Humanity is more dangerous than we calculated. The commander of the Vexstar fleet read the report. His face did not show emotion, but inside he was thinking. He had underestimated this human species. They were not the simple, weak creatures he had expected. They were adaptable. They were clever. They were dangerous. He made a decision. The timeline would not change. The invasion would arrive on schedule. But the strategy would change. No more soft landings and easy victories. The next attack would be overwhelming. It would crush any human resistance. It would be the largest military operation the Vextar had launched in 100 years. 3 weeks remained. 3 weeks until the fate of Earth would be decided. Dr. Kevin Ross sat in a dark room with only one light above his desk. In front of him were messages from alien civilizations. Messages that had come through secret channels, sent by beings who represented other species in the galaxy. Some of these messages brought hope. Some brought danger. 40-5 days had passed since the assassination. Humanity was stronger now. The victory in space had proven that the Vextar could be hurt. But intelligence reports showed that the Vextar fleet was bigger than anyone had expected. Twice as big. Maybe 3 times as big. Human forces could not defeat such a huge enemy alone. Ross had been given a mission by General Wang. Find allies. Talk to other civilizations. Convince them to help humanity fight against the Vextar Dominion. The task seemed impossible. But Ross had worked in diplomacy for 45 years. He knew how to talk to people and understand what they wanted. One message came from the Trull Confederacy. The Trull were an ancient species that had existed for over 50,000 years. They had seen many empires rise and fall. They had learned the lessons of time. The message was from someone called Keshen. He represented the Trull government. Ross read the message several times. Keshen wanted to meet with Ross in person. Not on Earth, not on a Vextar ship, but on a neutral station that floated in space between stars. This is dangerous, General Wang said when Ross told her about the invitation. We do not know if we can trust this Keshen or the Trull. It is more dangerous to do nothing, Ross replied. Without help, we cannot win. Wang studied Ross with her sharp eyes. Then she nodded. Go, but take security. Take recording equipment. And if this is a trick, make sure we know about it before you die. Ross laughed, a sound that showed how tired he was. I will do my best. 4 days later, Ross floated in a spacecraft heading toward the neutral station. He was accompanied by 2 military officers and a recording specialist named Marcus Green. The journey took 12 hours. As they approached the station, Ross studied what he could see. The station was large, built from materials that looked like stone and metal combined. It orbited a dead star, a place that belonged to no one and everyone. Keshen was waiting in a meeting room. He was tall, very tall, almost 9 feet high. His skin was gray like stone. His eyes were large and reflective, like looking at still water. He wore simple clothes made of material that seemed to shift colors. He looked at Ross and smiled. When he smiled, his face became gentle and kind, like a grandfather seeing a grandchild. Dr. Ross, Keshen said, his voice deep and musical. We have observed your species with great interest. You have done something remarkable. You have become unified in the face of an existential threat. This is rare. Most younger species break apart when danger comes. But humans have become stronger. Ross felt hope in his chest. Then the Trull will help us? Keshen sat down slowly. The Trull have watched the Vextar Dominion for thousands of years. We have seen them grow more aggressive, more arrogant, more dangerous. They believe that power is everything. They believe that conquest is the natural way of the universe. We do not agree. The Trull believe that cooperation is stronger than conquest. We believe that wisdom is more valuable than weapons. Your species has shown that you share our values. So we have an alliance? Ross asked. We offer limited support, Keshen said carefully. We will share intelligence about Vextar military positions and strategies. We will share technical knowledge that might help you defend yourselves. We will not fight directly, but we will help you fight. This is what friendship means to the Trull. Ross felt tears in his eyes. It was not complete, but it was something. It was hope, But there was more. As Ross was preparing to leave the station, he received another message. This one came through a private channel. The message was from someone inside the Vextar Dominion itself. The meeting location was hidden. Ross went alone, with only Marcus Green outside to watch for danger. Inside a small room, he met someone who changed everything. Her name was Zira. She was Vextar. She had blue-green skin like the delegation that had killed President Hayes. But her eyes were different. Her eyes showed thought and doubt and pain. "I am a scientist," Zira said in perfect English. "I have served the Vextar Dominion for my entire life. But I cannot continue. What the Empire is doing to your people, what they have done to other species before you, is wrong. Conquest is not progress. Killing is not civilization. Why are you telling me this?" Ross asked. He was very careful not to show his thoughts. "Because I want my people to be better than this," Zira said. She placed a data chip on the table between them. "This contains the technical specifications of our ships. It contains the locations of our main fleet. It contains the codes that open our communications channels. With this information, you can defend yourself. With this information, you might actually win." Ross looked at the data chip. It was small, but it might contain the future of humanity. "Why would you betray your own people?" Ross asked. "I am not betraying my people," Zira said. "I am trying to save them. If the Vextar Dominion continues on this path, it will eventually be stopped. And when it is stopped, it will be destroyed. I am trying to prevent that destruction. I am trying to save my species from its own arrogance." Ross picked up the data chip. It was warm from Zira's hand. "Thank you," he said, when Ross returned to Earth. He brought the intelligence from the Trell. He brought the technical data from Zira. He brought hope. General Wong and Commander Mitchell studied the information with intense focus. Mitchell's hand shook as he looked at the Vextar weapon specifications. Zira was right about many things. But more importantly, she had confirmed something critical. The Vextar ships had weakness. Specific weakness. Weakness that could be exploited. "This changes everything," Mitchell said to Wong. "With this information, we can plan attacks that target their power systems. We can predict their tactics. We can actually plan for victory." Wong looked at the data showing the location of the main Vextar fleet. They were still 2 weeks away. 2 weeks to prepare using information that was accurate and detailed. "Send a message to every nation on Earth," Wong commanded. "We are no longer fighting alone. We have allies. We have intelligence. We have a chance to win. I want every weapon modified. I want every pilot trained. I want every soldier ready. In 14 days, we will see if humanity can truly survive." The news spread across the world. Humanity was no longer isolated. Other civilizations supported humanity's right to exist. It seemed like a small thing, but it meant something profound. Humanity was not an accident in the universe. Humanity was not forgotten. Humanity had value. Zira watched from her hiding place on the neutral station. She had taken a great risk. If the Vextar discovered her betrayal, she would be killed. But she had to try. She had to believe that change was possible. She had to believe that her species could become something better. The sensors showed the Vextar fleet arriving at the edge of the solar system. 1,000 ships. The biggest invasion force that the Vextar had assembled in over 200 years. The ships were organized in perfect formation, moving toward Earth like a wave of darkness against the light. General Patricia Wong stood in the command center. It was the biggest moment of her life. She had spent 89 days preparing for this battle. Now the moment had finally come. She looked at the screens showing the incoming fleet. Her face showed no fear. Her hands did not shake. She was ready. "All forces, this is command," Wong said into the radio. Her voice was calm and clear. "Enemy fleet has been detected. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. All units, move to combat positions. All pilots, prepare for launch. This is the moment we have trained for. This is the moment we defend our home." Around the world, military forces moved into position. In space, human defense stations activated their weapons. In the atmosphere, fighters prepared for launch. On the ground, soldiers took positions at defensive lines. 89 days of preparation was about to be tested against the most powerful military force in this region of the galaxy. Captain Lisa Torres sat in her fighter cockpit. She had flown 82 combat missions in the past 3 months. But this would be the biggest battle of all. The main Vexstar fleet was arriving. Everything they had done, all the preparation and training, would come down to the next few hours. Around her, 200 fighter pilots prepared for launch. They knew that many of them would not return. But they did not hesitate. They did not question the mission. They were ready to die to defend their planet. "Pilots, launch sequence initiated," Torres said. Her fighter lifted off from the military base. 200 other fighters launched at the same moment. They rose into the atmosphere and headed toward space. They were going to meet the Vexstar invasion fleet head-on. The first Vexstar ships reached Earth's defensive stations. The battle began with explosions that lit up the sky. Human weapons fired at the alien ships. Some weapons hit. Some weapons missed. The Vexstar fired back with weapons that could destroy entire cities. But something was different from what the Vexstar expected. The humans were not trying to win. They were trying to survive. They were not defending from one location. They were attacking from multiple angles at the same time. Commander Alex Mitchell watched the battle from the command center. He saw the moment everything changed. The Vexstar flagship, the biggest ship in the fleet, was about to fire a weapon that could destroy the entire defensive station. But at that moment, 12 human fighters came from above and hit the ship directly. "The shield frequency is changing," a technician shouted. The Vexstar are adjusting their defenses. But the humans had already adapted. They had studied Zira's information. They understood how the Vexstar would respond. They had trained for this exact moment. Captain Torres led her squadron in another attack. The fighters moved so fast that the Vexstar weapons could not track them. The humans fired at the weak points they had learned about. The Vexstar ships began to fall out of the sky, but the invasion fleet was huge. For every ship destroyed, there were 10 more. The battle raged for hour after hour. Humans died. Vexstar died. The sky above Earth became a graveyard of burning ships. Then something unexpected happened. Commander Mitchell made a decision that changed the fate of the battle. He looked at the Vexstar fleet and saw their weakness. The command ship. If the command ship was destroyed, the fleet would lose cohesion. Without the central command, the Vexstar ships would not be able to coordinate their attacks. "I need a volunteer," Mitchell said to the pilots still in the combat area. "Someone willing to pilot a spacecraft directly into the Vexstar flagship. It is almost certainly a suicide mission, but it is the only way to win this battle." There was silence. Then a young pilot named Daniel Cross spoke up. "I will do it," he said simply. Cross was 24 years old. He had been a fighter pilot for only 2 years. But he was brave and skilled. He took a small spacecraft loaded with the most powerful weapons humanity had. He flew directly toward the Vexstar flagship. The Vexstar saw him coming. They tried to stop him. They fired every weapon they had. But Cross was fast and clever. He moved his spacecraft like it was part of his body. He dodged and weaved through the incoming fire. As he got closer to the Vexstar flagship, he activated the self-destruct on his weapons. The explosion was huge. The Vextar flagship was hit directly in its command center. Power systems failed. Communications failed. Weapons failed. Daniel Cross did not survive. His spacecraft was destroyed in the explosion. But his sacrifice was not in vain. The Vextar fleet lost its central command. Without orders, the ships began to move in confusion. They did not know what to do. General Wong saw the moment of confusion on her screens. "All forces, attack now," she commanded. "This is our chance. Strike with everything we have." The human forces attacked with a fury that came from months of preparation and the knowledge that victory was possible. Vextar ships were destroyed. More ships fell. The invasion fleet that had come to conquer Earth was falling apart. The Vextar commander made a decision. The humans had proven to be stronger than expected. The Vextar would not win this battle. To continue would mean the destruction of the entire fleet. He gave the order to retreat. The remaining Vextar ships turned away from Earth. They accelerated toward the edge of the solar system. The human forces did not chase them. They had won. Humanity had defeated the Vextar invasion. The celebration on Earth was quiet at first. Then it grew. Cities that had prepared for destruction celebrated survival. People came out into the streets and looked at the sky. The sky was clear again. The danger had passed, but the celebration was mixed with sadness. Thousands of humans had died defending Earth. Daniel Cross had given his life to save his world. Captain Torres had lost friends and comrades. The victory had come at a terrible cost. 2 weeks later, General Patricia Wong stood before the people of Earth on television. She spoke from the United Nations building, the same place where President Marcus Hayes had died. "People of Earth," she said, her voice steady, "we have faced the greatest challenge in human history, and we have survived. But we do not celebrate with joy alone. We celebrate with respect for those who died. We remember their sacrifice. We honor their memory by building a better world. A world where humans stand as equals among the stars. A world where we are known not as conquerors, but as a species that will not surrender. A species that will not break. A species that will not bow." She paused and looked directly into the camera. The Vextar Dominion learned something in this battle. They learned that humans are not easy to conquer. They learned that we are brave. They learned that when we stand together, we are powerful. And every other civilization in the galaxy has learned something too. They have learned that a species born on a harsh world, a species that survived through cooperation and innovation, a species that chooses to protect the young and the innocent, such a species is worth respecting, worth knowing, worth calling friend. In the days that followed, messages came from civilizations across the galaxy. The Trell offered continued friendship. Species that humanity had never contacted offered to establish trade and cultural exchange. The universe suddenly seemed less lonely. Earth had survived. Humanity had proven that we belonged among the stars. The future was uncertain. There would be challenges and dangers ahead. But for the first time in its history, humanity faced that future knowing that we were not alone. We were strong. We could survive. We could build something good. Captain Lisa Torres returned to her base. She received orders to train the next generation of fighter pilots. Daniel Cross was given a memorial in every major city on Earth. Dr. Kevin Ross continued his work building relationships with other civilizations. General Patricia Wong served as Earth's leader until new elections could be held. The war was over. The real work of building peace and understanding had just begun.